And when the United States completed the withdrawal of our armed forces from Afghanistan 1 year ago this month, it marked the end of the longest war in American history. A small special operations teams first deployed to Afghanistan in the days after 9/11 to disrupt and destroy al-Qaeda's organization. They were extremely effective in accomplishing that mission. But soon after, our political and military leaders embarked on the fool's errand of nation building and trying to build a mini America in Afghanistan. There was no clear, achievable, and feasible strategy to reach that objective. Nonetheless, 4 consecutive presidents from both political parties, leaders at the Pentagon, leaders in Congress, continued to wage this war even though they knew it was failing.
And the lesson that I've learned over the years is that you have to stay engaged in these situations. Nobody likes it. It's long. It's tedious. But right now we have, so I would say we must be engaged in this.
Is that what you will tell the parents of those 2 soldiers who were just killed in Afghanistan? Well, we just have to be engaged. As a soldier, I will tell you that answer is unacceptable. We have to bring our troops home from Afghanistan. We are in a place in Afghanistan where we have lost so many lives. We've spent so much money, money that's coming out of every one of our pockets, money that should be going into communities here at home, meeting the needs of the people here at home. We are no better off in Afghanistan today than we were when this war began. A withdrawal from Afghanistan needed to happen. It just should have happened almost 20 years ago. Like so many of you, I was horrified as I watched this disastrous withdrawal unfold on television last year. How could it be that after 20 years of war, this administration was so completely ill-prepared to leave? Now, 1 year has passed, and there's been no apology. There's been no accountability at any level in this administration, especially to the families of the 13 service members who were killed at Abbey Gate. But as we remember the withdrawal 1 year on, one thing remains true. The failures of our leaders will never take away the great honor and selflessness shown by those who sacrificed on the battlefield. The thousands of Americans who fought in Afghanistan, they fought for each other and they fought for our country. Now, Jack Carr is the author of The Terminal List, now a hit show on Amazon Prime. He's also a former Navy SEAL veteran who served in Afghanistan. Jack, it's so good to see you. Thank you so much for joining us. I know you have some thoughts and feelings, especially as we look at what happened 1 year ago.
I do, and as does every person who went over there and put their life on the line, and some who returned home facing the physical and the emotional trauma of their experience over there. But we learned early on in special operations, in particular, to not rush to your death, and that means to take a breath, look around, make a good, thoughtful call for those on your left and right. That's what you owe them. That's what you owe their families. That's what you owe the mission. And instead, what happened at a strategic level, as we got down to these final days in Afghanistan, is we rushed to our death. And that's why so many Americans who never had any touch point with the military whatsoever could apply a bit of common sense to what they were seeing on television and start asking questions. Why did we give up Bagram? Why did we put our service members at a tactically disadvantageous position at the Kabul airport, which resulted, unfortunately, in those deaths at Abbey Gate, and to say nothing of those who are still dealing with those the physical wounds of that day and the emotional wounds of that day. We rushed to our death at the end. It was unnecessary. We had 20 years to learn lessons, and we neglected to do that. We didn't even go back to the Soviet experience in Afghanistan. We didn't go back to the British experience. We didn't even have to go back to Genghis Khan or Alexander the Great. We had our own 20 years of experience in Afghanistan, and we neglected to apply those lessons to our withdrawal, and it really is unforgivable, as is the accountability. We have seen over that 20 years, zero accountability from our senior leaders, and that continues to this day. They have all failed upward.
Yeah, Jack, I know you've spoken and written a lot about this and about how, especially in recent history, and you're a student of history and a prolific reader and author, how general officers are no longer held accountable. As you say, they are promoted upward. What do you say to the families who are looking for that accountability as we wrap up here?
Well, that's what we owe not just those families, but future generations as well. If we fail to take these lessons and apply those lessons going forward as wisdom, then those deaths have been in vain. That's what we really owe them, is to apply those lessons going forward as wisdom. But we can look back. We can look back to what was our country like before 1947 and after 1947. We stopped holding our senior military leaders accountable for whatever reason after World War II. George Marshall did it before World War II. All through World War II, put those generals and admirals, all those names that we know today as those who led us to victory, we all know those names. After World War II, we stopped firing those admirals and those generals who didn't measure up for whatever reason, and that continues today. And that's going to have to change if we want the populace, the citizens, to trust in our military leadership.
And the results speak for themselves. Jack, thank you for your service, your leadership, and your voice. I appreciate it. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much.